Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Today I'm going to talk, make a video response. I guess it's a response. A lot of us have been having discussions back and forth about complexity in games, and a whole bunch of stuff, better ways to play games. And Games Apologist has a bunch of really good videos out there. We've been involved in a discussion, through videos mostly. And same old G, Runesinger, a lot of people have kind of chimed in one way or another, or provided inspiration. So today I wanted to kind of continue down this a little bit, explore like one topic, and just kind of provide I don't even know if it's an alternate take, just kind of hey, how about this too? And so it's not a debate. So just to make that clear, it's a discussion. And as I've said a lot lately, I'm trying to make the focus of the channel more about just generating a discussion about these topics, because they're interesting, and they're also useful if we want to like have more fun at gaming and get better at it, I suppose. So anyhow, you know, Complex Games Apologist had a couple videos out, and let me see if I can pull these suckers up here. I know he had one. I believe these are the ones I'm talking about. Why we talk about games, there are pragmatic or better ways, better, worse ways to play. There he is. He's talking right now about all this junk. Better and worse ways to play. And he also talked about the lightning, his hypothesis on the lightning of games, the dumbing down, And, at least one of those was a response to Same Old G, who kind of prompted that whole line of thought originally. So anyhow, today I want to talk about a couple things that he had mentioned. The first one is the idea, and I know I've heard Same Old G say this as well, and I just can't remember which video it's from. And so maybe if I figure it out, I'm sure it's a bunch of them, so I'll link it when I find it. Talking about the idea that you've got to choose the right game. I know what video that's from Same Old G. That's the father in the holy trinity of RPGs. You got to choose the right game. You got to figure out like what is it you want to do. And then choose the right game for that. What is your game about, and how does it do that? Quote I heard recently. So, I believe what Games Apologist was using as an example. I think, and if not, it doesn't really matter. It's talking about political intrigue. Could have been Same Old G. Anyhow, they were all talking about it. The idea that you want to play some political intrigue. Well, you don't pick up necessarily like Lamentations of the Flame Princess. If that's your idea, is I want to play a game about that's kind of like Game of Thrones, where we do a bunch of political intrigue. You don't pick that game up because the systems in that game aren't for that. So you find the game that that supports that. The one that you like that supports that. And I'm not going to necessarily say which one. Why don't you guys all tell me what your favorite one is, because I have less experience with that. So anyhow, I fully agree with that. I get that. You want to do something, choose the right game. However, I've been in this. I'll give you like real life situations. I was involved in the campaign, of Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and as time progressed, we started to get involved in political intrigue, and the goals of that the characters developed, over time. A couple of us were power hungry. We were all power hungry in our own way, but one of the players was very good at this sort of stuff and started, getting involved in all kinds of political machinations, and the wizard that I happened to be playing, he used a little bit of magic and a little charm person type stuff, but he also he had goals, and he wanted it made sense, and we found ourselves in the situation kind of like the returning generals from a battle in Rome, where you come back and you're popular because we helped win some battles that were politically important. So we became kind of popular, and we in some circles. So we managed to use this to our advantage. The game didn't last long enough to really go on deeper in that, but that's the direction we were going into. And had the game all of a sudden, we stopped going out and adventuring and mostly did that and necessarily didn't level up, I think we would have been okay with that. But the game didn't have mechanics to support it. We just, had to role play a lot of that sort of stuff, and the game master had to do that as well. So, just because a game isn't about that, and the mechanics aren't about political intrigue, doesn't mean necessarily that if you find yourself in that position that you can't do it. You just have to be creative. Had that been our goal from the start, I don't think we'd have played Lamentations of the Flame Princess. We'd played a different game, but that's what happened, over time. The The second thing I was just going to touch on really briefly, and I forget where the heck Complex Games Apologist said this. I think it was in a comment either on Facebook or on YouTube. I don't know if it was to his video or my video. I don't know. I don't have time to go look it up right now. But he was talking about the idea that playing a complex game helped you play in between sessions, that you could be thinking about what was going on, because you could be thinking about various things related to the rules, related to the mechanics, the systems, etc. And I get that and I understand, but I made a video not so long ago, and I'm trying to remember what that. I'll link it when I find it. And it was about I think it was about collective note taking in between game session, playing. And we did a lot of playing sort of by email, because in that same campaign, we had a lot of we went back and forth, and some of it was based. It was based on rules. It was based on how much does stuff cost, because this book will tell you what real estate costs or what rent costs, and we needed things like laboratories and libraries and a safe house, and we needed servants, we needed retainers, and all that stuff is in there. So we talked about that, and the rules definitely helped generate that kind of discussion. And ditto for the fact that with my particular character and his shtick, it takes time and money to research spells, transcribe all that stuff. So I got somebody, I hired somebody to do that for me. And so there was a lot of, play related to the rules, but there was also a lot of, play around those political machinations. What are we going to do next? What's going on in this area of the world? What are our goals going to be? And that had nothing to do with the rules. So I'll agree that definitely rules, and a complicated rules system that supports that sort of thing. Of course, that's going to support, in between session play or thought, or keeping the players and the game master engaged. However, it's been my experience that, you can get that engaged anyway, regardless of whether or not the rule set supports it. Complex or not, doesn't really make a difference. If there aren't systems about those sort of things, sometimes you can get so wrapped up in what you've discovered, or where, what direction you've just gone in. Nobody was expecting to go in that direction, but here we are. We're not going to switch game systems now. We're just, okay, let's see how we, let's go do this now. let's go do some political machinations and some political intrigue, and so we did. And but I get it. I understand. I completely. You should choose the right game for what you want to do. But I swear to God that you can do political intrigue and machinations without those systems, because how do you think people do it in real life? It's just, I wouldn't, if you're going to start that way, I wouldn't necessarily choose the game that doesn't support it. But if you find yourself there, we were certainly successful. So that's all I'm going to say about that.